Shiny object syndrome is when someone focuses all of their attention on something new and current. Usually this is at the expense of whatever they have or currently doing. Instead of shiny object syndrome, you may know it as the average indie developer. There is a really funny story with this script. The whole idea with defining shiny object syndrome as the intro related to the fact that I redid the graphics of my game and the level design, more on that later. But what makes the story funny is that I actually kept working on the game after I did the first script, and I changed even more things, and I thought of better ideas for the video, but I did too much work, and I just had to restart the entire script. I don't know, I thought that was funny. Getting into development, yes, I mentioned that I redid the graphics and style of my game again. Now, there's going to be a subtle story in even just the graphics of the game, and how the game is just shown in the first few levels. So I won't go into huge detail, but you'll notice it in the devlogs and future ones as well. There'll be subtle shifts in the game's tone as development progresses. But for now, the game has this retro level design style that I'm quite fond of. Along with graphical changes, I've also changed the story of the game a little. If you don't care for the story, just skip ahead. But so the story is that the star of the solar system, Letum, is in just that solar system, turns into a black hole with the exact same mass as the previous star. And this big gravitational monster has attracted some beings that harness the power of gravity. And back on the planet Letum, a group of people take over any governing bodies that still stand and gain control over the planet's entirety. They have been given the name the Cult of Perdition, as they want to change the world into one that fits the ideals of the gravitational beings that appeared before, as they kind of worship them like gods. These changes people see as some form of perdition or hell, thus why the group was crowned the name. The beings liked that they had followers, and used this. They ordered the cult to get cities and towns destroyed and materials to be collected. They used these materials to construct huge towers in large empty farmland. These were called the Monolith Plains. Gameplay takes place in one of these towers, and the beings use their technology to mend the human race to whatever they see fit. The residents of the monolith eventually were plucked off one by one and converted into some form of entertainment for their new rulers. I can go into so much more detail, but I won't, because I got to talk about more stuff. However, I will quickly say one thing that I really like. I've been making artworks that kind of show off the story a little bit, and if you want to see them, I post them on my Instagram and also in the Discord server that I have, so you can go see them there. There's this really cool one about tanks. It's all about how the people before moving into the monoliths kind of fought back, and so then the government or the cult kind of just brought in some tanks and did some sillies. Back to development. The graphics got a nice overhaul, as I was talking about earlier, and I upped the resolution of the game. It's still a little bit pixelated, just to give it that retro feel, but nowhere near as much as before. You can actually see in front of you. I also added a color bitrate crusher that isn't as strong as it used to be before, especially in the first demo that I uploaded to the Discord. I also changed a little bit of the UI and made it so the health bar can be customized in color. This setting can be found in the new settings menu. Custom health bar color has been in the game for a while, but you're only able to change it in the save file, which is not very nice. I also made it so the keybinds now save, and a lot more settings now save, which did not in the previous version. If you wish to play the demo, or even just show off your own work and talk to like-minded people, then you should join my Discord server, link is always in the description. I've tweaked movement slightly and nerfed melee boosting by a smidge. What melee boosting is, or melee dashing, is when you jump and punch. So in my game, meleeing gives you a subtle boost forwards, but if you're in the air, this boost is quite strong. So if you run, slide, jump and punch, it will give you a great boost forward, and you can just chain it to, get super quick. I also made it so you can't dash in the air anymore. So, well, kind of. So if you get up in the air and then you punch, that's it. Once you try to punch again, you won't get dashed forward. You can still do damage, you just won't be pushed. But as soon as you hit the floor again, you can, it resets and you can dash. You can, dash infinitely on the ground, it just won't be nearly as strong. So, you have to touch the ground again, so you kind of got to do that chain thing I was mentioning before. What I mentioned before about nerfing melee is I just made the boost forward just a little bit weaker. That's about it. Along with the subtle UI changes, I've also made it so the relic hotbar will not be shown if the player does not own any relics at all, which currently relics are not unlockable in the demo. They will be soon, however, don't worry. I like the first boss of the game to have some form of dual ability or clone ability, or even just fight 2 bosses at once. And your reward for fighting them would be the duplication relic. The duplication relic gives you a dual weapon, no matter the gun. This will also double your damage, but also double your ammo cost. So the pistol, it shoots 1 bullet every time you shoot, I think. That would then go up to 2. Guns have also gotten a slight tweak to them. I added in a singular shot and a full auto to the guns. Guns like the pistol, revolver, and shotgun are singular shot and require the player to spam click. Guns like the AR and SMG are full auto, and the player is able to hold the mouse down. I want to add a relic that makes all single shot guns full auto and all full auto guns single shot. I think this could be a fun relic to use to build. Next topic is enemy behavior. Husks deal more damage now, but are easier to cheese for now. Sentries also have aim, because before their aim was horrible, they just could not hit, so now they actually have aim, they can hit you. But to combat their new aim, I made them a lot slower and easier to hit, because they have the exact same damage as the player, and it can get very annoying when you're being swarmed. I also added a hit sound effect, which I think was very much needed, along with a hit flash, with enemies that can't be one-shot, unlike the Husk. Something that is needed now is enemy vision, so just easy to see them in the dark somehow, maybe like a subtle outline. But yeah, currently in some areas, enemies are really, really hard to see. I've also added in the cluster enemy, which is an enemy I mentioned in the last devlog, I think. But in summary, the cluster is a large stone creature. They just throw large red projectiles at you, nothing really much to say there. Some upcoming enemies that I am kind of in like the design stage of them, I've not thought of anything else, just kind of how they act, is an elite husk and a new creature altogether that's kind of a strange froggy thing with like 2 legs that spits toxic sludge at you, and I don't know, might leave like a puddle on the ground wherever the balls land. Back to the level changes I mentioned before, I finally added a level 2. There were a few problems with it, and still are, but I'll fix them later. I'm also currently working on level 3, which will be bigger, more open, and show the player more things about the parkour system. It'll also have a bit more story in it. This is where like the story starts to kind of show itself in the game. Not just level changes, but I also changed the menu scene to show the black hole and Leeton, the planet. The black hole is hard to get right in the game because I can't really do any fancy CGI trickery like an Interstellar. However, I think it turned out nicely and it fits the style. Some bugs I have fixed are the HUD not sizing with large monitors. So if you have like a super wide monitor, the HUD would kind of just stay to the left for some reason. I do not know what caused this, but it's fixed now. Audio sliders are now displaying the correct audio. Moving to the next level now actually moves the player to the next level. Fixed soft lock glitch in level 2. There's probably more fixes, but I don't really remember. This is all the changes I can remember since the last devlog. Most of the changes have been tweaks and code optimizations. I regret starting this project right when I started using Godot, because now that I have learned like so much more about the program and I've become a much better programmer in general, so many of the systems that I am still using are just out of date and sloppy, just like my programming in the actual game. I'm slowly chipping away at them and making them more efficient, but it's taking a bit. But we are getting there. Thank you for making it through to the very end, and please, if you enjoyed the video, subscribe, it really helps. If you would like to Discord server in the description, as always, see ya.